Today's video is all about this right here. This is CeeLo Ed TV. Welcome to the channel. If you've been paying attention to my channel as of late, I've been doing a lot of videos on solar and I'm going to continue to build on that. So check out my scavenger solar videos right up here. Today's video is all about taking 2-liter bottles or plastic bottles and getting a little more out of them. I've been doing my research and finding out that there are tons of uses for 2-liter bottles, from filters down to air compression chambers, storage. But we're going to explore a couple of different ways that we can use these guys right here. And at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about my plans on how some of my projects and renewable projects are going to be used with these guys right here. One thing I was excited to do was actually make these lenses. Now, to give you an idea, all I did was make a wood frame, and then I took the 2-liter bottle, cut it in a loop, sort of like a band, and then applied heat to it. And what that was able to do was make a drum-tight lens. And I'm not going to give away the secret of what I'm going to use this for. You're going to have to tune into the channel to see some of the uses I'll make this with. Another thing that I was able to do, I was able to 3D print a bottle, PETG bottle cutter. And if you look at the picture right here, this is where I downloaded this cutter on Thingiverse. And the reason why I downloaded this particular one, there's tons online, but this one I wanted to use just in case I'm backpacking or traveling, and I wanted to make some cordage from a 2-liter bottle that I might find for building a shelter or whatever I need it for. And so that's why I printed this. Now, one of the other great uses I found is actually use it as heat shrink tubing. And yes, this 2-liter bottle was used to hold this material. And this actually comes from a treadmill that I was breaking down. You know, you can break down salvage motors. If you want to see a video on how I break down old electronics and get the parts from them, just let me know in the comment section. But yeah, this is able to bind and really hold stuff without you having to use rubber bands or any type of tape, because that's expensive. That costs, you know. If you're just trying to hold something together, you might as well just use an old 2-liter bottle. And here is an example of using PVC pipe, and I'll see if I can get in a little closer so you can see. Yes, that is 2-liter bottle right there, holding, and it's holding it really well. Doesn't break at all. It's actually very tight. Holds this PVC together, so it's good with storage. So we're going to touch on all of those in separate videos, but today's video is all about the heat shrink tubing. Let me show you how I do this. Okay, so I do have a spread of different items here. Pretty much we're going to use the 2-liter bottles as heat shrink tubing in this case. We've got 2 bundles of PVC pipe. Let me show you how to cut the bottles, prep them for heat shrink tubing. Okay, so I have a pretty big spread here, and then what I'll do is explain everything on the table right now. So we got some cordage made from 2-liter bottles. We've also got some lenses or frames made from also 2-liter bottles. We're gonna get to this one last. Here's an example of the heat shrink tubing technique. This is actually treadmill base, and you know, treadmill, I guess you could say sheets. Looks like asphalt, kind of like, but I intend to use this as a recyclable roofing material. Anyway, aside from that, we have also a cutter. And what this cutter does is actually takes these 2-liter bottles, and I'll demonstrate that later, and turns it into cordage like this. I'll talk more about this at the end of the video. All right, let's go ahead and get that heat shrink tubing on these PVC pipes. Okay, so the first step you want to do is prep your bottle. I just kind of remove the labels and rinse them out real quick. This one, I'm thinking about turning maybe we'll do 3 bands a piece. So you want to start your cut first by opening the slit there, and then you just cut around. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind when you're cutting this is you want to make it into like a band, like a loop. You do not want to cut down the middle. Okay, so that will be your funnel. If you were going to turn this into some sort of funnel for water filtration, but this right here is, you know, your typical funnel, okay? And then we're just gonna, you can cut above the curve, but if you want a perfectly flat heat shrink, you want to cut underneath the curve. But in this case, I'm just gonna cut a little after the curve. So I'll just start the hole, come back with the scissors. And then we're just gonna split this into 3 strips. Loop. Okay, so there's our basic loop right here. All right, and now we're gonna cut this into thirds. So let's go ahead and do that. Now the straighter the better, but you do the best you can do. The straighter the better. And there's probably some sort of jig you can 3D print or make to make the bands perfectly straight. And guys, this video is just to give ideas, you know. I'm gonna be working with plastic bottles probably for the next month or so, you know, and just experimenting with different uses and ideas. But in the comment section below, if you have any uses, or do you use 2-liter or plastic bottles for anything? All right, so there's our 3 loops. Let's go ahead and load them up with PVC. I'm gonna take my PVC and just get it started. There's no rhyme or reason or technique for this method. Just start filling it. And it's looking like this loop can fit quite a bit. I could have made it into 8 strips per bottle, 4 strips per bottle, but I wanted them to be a little bit stronger, a thicker band. And so I did 3 strips, and surprisingly, all this white PVC fits in 1 loop. And I'd imagine you could use a loop just like this. But the secret to this technique, and as you can see, there's a band there. The secret to this technique is the heat. That's what makes it nice and tight. All right, let me slip the other band over on this side. Get all the pipe in there. Okay, and so now I got the PVC lined up how I want. Now let's add some heat. One thing you want to be careful with this, and I don't know how well I'm going to do this. PVC is heat sensitive, so you got to keep the gun moving as you're tightening up the PVC, because this will cause your PVC to warp, because PVC is heat sensitive. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it up, and it's all about distance and movement. I may not get it perfect the first time, but you want to move all the way around that bottle. After a while, you're gonna see that bar start to shrink up and tighten. You might already see it on camera. So the PVC is a bit thicker, so looks a little wrinkled right now, but shortly you'll see and it's already tightening up. The more you stay on it, the more even it gets. All right, as you can see it flattening out. Let me zoom in so you can see exactly what it's doing. Okay, turn the heat back up. And as you can tell, like, I can roll it around as almost a unit right now. And really, guys, heat shrink is very expensive, and this is one economical way to get your heat shrink. And I'm gonna show you how really tough and tight this is after we heat it up. You know, you could bind sticks with this or anything you want. And as you can see, that's pretty tight right there. All right, let me go ahead and get the other side done. Okay, I'm gonna slide this down just a bit. And I like to, you know, store my stuff nice and neat like this. It's bundled up. And now keep in mind, if you get it so tight, you might have to cut the band to get your PVC out. But really, if you do it just right, you can just slip it out the band, heat it some more, and re-shrink it. That works. That's pretty tight already. All right. That right there is good enough. Now, depending on how tight you want it is how you would do it, but look at that bundle. Solid. And like I said, it's more than a bottle, guys. It's a resource, it's a tool. Go ahead and bundle up the gray PVC, and then we'll talk about other uses for your 2-liter bottles. Okay. All right, same technique. So I got 2 extra bands. I don't think I will need these for the rest, but we'll see how much. We might have to do 2 bundles or 1. We'll see how much will fit. All right. You might have to do 2 bundles. Okay, it's looking like 1 loop can hold. It seems like it can hold a few more. We might can get it all in there. Maybe, maybe not. Not quite. So it looks like we can fit quite a bit, but let's split it up into 2 smaller bundles. So we'll do, let's see. See how many's in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we'll do a bundle of 5 and a bundle of 4. All right, like I said, more motion is better. All right, let's keep moving around. So we can turn that a little bit. Turn and turn, turn and turn. It takes a little more the smaller you make the loop. As you can see, it's tightening and tightening. You can make it look as neat as you want, but if you're just trying to bind them, you can just bind them. Yeah, now it's tightening up. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it to this side now. But obviously the other loop is going to take a little longer because there's less pipes in there. But like I said, a little 2-liter bottle, it's not costing you anything but the beverage that was inside of it. Why buy heat shrink tubing when you got some right here? All right, now it's tightened up. All right. Okay, let's check the other side so we can get a little tighter on this side. I'm just tightening it up to what I like. Okay, that should do it. So I'll do the other one off camera and then we'll talk about this at the end of the video. So here we are. So hopefully that gives you a deeper perspective on things around you. And I encourage you to check out different videos on this, and I've left a video here on how I shred bottles like this and turn them into coasters, buttons, all sorts of stuff. Just check the playlist up here if you want to check out other videos where I use recycled plastic to make different things. The reasons why you may want to do this is for emergency grid down situation. You might want to take a bottle, add sand, charcoal, and rocks, and you can make a water filter. You could use the cordage to build an emergency shelter, but definitely start looking at little bottles like this as more than what they are. Made lenses, made cordage for tying and wrapping stuff, and also heat shrink tubing to hold sheets and also to hold pipes. And you can use that heat shrink to really hold anything together. And that all came from this little bottle right here. And it's the champion of the day. So guys, thank you for tuning in on the channel. If you learned something new, definitely hit a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Also, if you would like to support the channel financially, there's links in the description below. Also, you can contribute to CeeLo Academy, which is going to be all about renewable energy and things of that nature. Guys, stay tuned for more solar, more projects, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a great weekend.